Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some malicious compliance. Please check out the KCC Discord linked in the description down below. There you can talk to me and a whole bunch of KCC fans who hang out there on a regular basis. I look forward to seeing you there. Our first story today comes to us from LizzieB66. It's not that I can't play chess. Let's jump right in. It's that I don't choose to play chess. I originally posted this over in Entitled People, and it was suggested that this might also fit here. So I learned to count because I wanted to play cards with my brother. He was 10 years older than me, and I thought that the world revolved around him. Because my father was narcissistic, it wasn't until years later that I realized what a positive male role model he was. My brother was games obsessed. We would play hands of rummy that went on for weeks, game after game of Monopoly that lasted months. When I got to about 8, I had the chance to join the school chess club. So the summer before, I begged him to teach me to play chess. It was then that I discovered that most chess players out in the wild like to take time pondering their moves. Me, I like to play a game, finish it, learn from it, and then play another. For me, it was quantity and quality that taught me. By the time the year was out, I had a decent ranking in the school chess league, but my heart wasn't in it. I put my chess set away and focused on playing blackjack with my brother. It seemed that my knack with numbers and a mild case of synesthesia, where number and cards have personalities, made me a natural and I loved the game. We also played a version of whist where we would bid on tricks and these became our go-to games. As time went on, I would avoid playing chess because it just didn't grab me. If asked by anyone, I'd say, no, I don't play. Then came the day when a boyfriend wouldn't take no for an answer. This guy had the biggest chip on his shoulder, so much so that it caused a permanent stoop. I'd self-financed my further education, but I'd managed to do that because your social class gave you all the breaks. I'd got a good job through working hard, but that was because your social class gave you all the breaks. I got promotions through self-financed study in my own time, but that was because your social class gave you all the breaks. You get the idea. So he decides that he is a chess champion. He was undiscovered because, you guessed it, his social class as a child had stopped him. He comes down for the weekend with a chess set so he could sit and study the board. He asked me if I played chess and I gave my standard answer. I know how to, but I don't play chess. Well, this must have eaten away at him. Here was an opportunity for him to show his superiority to me by beating me at chess. He'd been beating all his friends. Now he could wipe the floor with me. On and on he went at me about playing a game. I kept saying that I don't play chess, but he wouldn't let it go. In the end, I gave in. He sets up the board and announces that he will be white. Yep, you don't do that, but I just wanted it over. He starts standard opening. Game goes as predicted for the first few moves. Now, as I said, I was a quite competent chess player. I just don't like all the humming and hawing and so on. I find it a bit pretentious. I'm not a great player, so never took it to the level where time moves would have made it more fun, but I'd studied a number of games as part of chess club, and because I have great visual retention, these things stayed. A few moves further, and I can see what he is trying to do. It's a standard gambit. Played it a number of times. About 10 moves in, and I'm bored. I'm really bored. It's 40 minutes. I'm moving a piece immediately. He's doing all the things I hate. So I stop concentrating and start moving pieces by instinct. And you got it. I sacrifice a piece, and I can see the gloating on his face. He thinks he's got me. He checks me. 2 moves later, and I've put him in mate. He throws the board and pieces across the room. You said you couldn't play chess. No, I said I didn't play chess, not that I couldn't. Well, if you don't like playing chess, you should have let me win. That's not how it works. I deserve to win. That's still not how it works. OP added a really quick edit at the bottom. It says, edit to mention, I dumped him a few years later and have now been with my hubby for nearly 20 years. Well, normally you won't hear that should have let me win thing unless you're talking to a child. but this guy was apparently 36 years old. And I was shocked to see that OP stayed with this person for another couple of years. If that wasn't a giant red frickin' flag blowing in the wind, I don't know what is. Do me a quick favor and take a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're actually not subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. This next story comes to us from a deleted account. Bin everything in this room? You got it, boss. Let's jump right in. Not my own malicious compliance, but overheard then witnessed at work. A few months ago, the two owners at my work had a huge disagreement, which has escalated to full-blown screaming matches in the middle of the office and nearly into several physical fights. It came to a head last Friday, and owner A decided to pack it all in and leave effective immediately. After lunch, owner B called the warehouse manager up to the office and pointed at owner A's office, situated just off the main open plan office, and said, "I'm too stressed to deal with this, so I'm going home. Bin everything in that room. I don't want to see a shred of evidence that owner A worked here when I get back on Monday morning." The warehouse manager looked at the offending office and back to owner B. "Are you sure you want to bin everything, boss?" Owner B looked ready to explode already, and apparently this extra bit of clarification sent him over the edge. "Did I stutter? Get rid of everything in there or you can clear out your desk too." And so owner B stormed off and our warehouse manager took out his walkie-talkie and summoned up two of his warehouse staff and relayed the instructions. The warehouse workers questioned it and got the same answer. Yes, absolutely everything. And so they got to work. Owner A's personal effects were put into a box and sealed up to be taken to him by one of the purchasing staff who lived nearby. Everything else was bagged up and put into the bins. The paperwork and stationery were boxed up to be shredded and destroyed. Next, the monitor and printer were taken to the bins, followed by the desk and chair. When I left at 4 p.m., the warehouse workers were just starting to take down the wall-mounted bookshelves. I would have expected them to stop there, but when I got in this morning, there was nothing in the office. The curtains and blinds are gone, plug sockets and light fittings taken off the walls, leaving exposed wires. The tiles removed from the ceiling, showing the ductwork and wiring above. The carpet that owner A requested be put in was torn up and leaving the underlay. Even the door with owner A's name plaque on it was taken off the hinges. It looks like a construction site in there. Owner B came in at 10 this morning, took one look at the bomb site, and started screaming his head off and demanded to see the warehouse manager. He wanted whoever did this to put this right, and then get off site as they were fired. If no one owned up, then the whole warehouse shift was fired. Our warehouse manager, never one to give a crap, just peered into the office and said, "You said bin everything, boss. Looks like they did," and walked off. Owner B looked like he was going to burst a vessel. Did that not make sense to anyone else? Yeah, get in there and fix all of that and then get out because you're fired. No thank you. I think I'll move directly to the fired part. Bye. This next story comes to us from Bol de Acier. Schedule me for evening shift? Make certain you know what you're doing. Let's jump right in. A couple of recent stories reminded me of something that happened way back when. I was a teenager and had a job at a hotel as a busboy in a coffee shop. We had about 95 seats, and on a Saturday and Sunday, we would do about 400 covers. It was busy, but I was good. Afternoon, things would slow down, so I would jump into the dish pit and help them catch up. One Sunday, the back of house manager and the general manager were having lunch, and they called me over. They asked me to take the next Saturday's evening shift in the dish pit. I reminded them that weekends were pretty busy, and they would have a problem if I wasn't bussing on breakfast. They told me they would get someone to cover bussing, but they really needed me in the dish pit that Saturday night. I agreed, but told them that I would need to leave at 11 p.m. on the dot, as I relied on public transit to get home, and there was no way I could work late. They said no problem, and we had a deal. I showed up at 3 p.m. to absolute chaos. Guess who they had cover bussing? That's right, the dishwasher. The pit was absolutely stacked with dishes. And then I found out why they needed me on that shift. Banquets and the coffee shop used the same glassware, plates, and cutlery, and there was a massive banquet going on upstairs. When I got there, the cook line and the banquet crew were going nuts, prepping and setting up tons of centerpieces, place settings, that sort of thing. We had busing carts, and the banquet crew was loading them up and running them up the elevators to the banquet hall. It was pandemonium. The back of house manager kept yelling at me, "I need more forks right now!" And I was fishing through the dozens of buspans from day shift, trying to get him the stuff he needed. It took a while, but I managed to find it for him. I took it with a grain of salt, since he was actually a pretty good guy, just stressed to the max. Finally, the banquet stuff all went upstairs and I could clear the backlog. It took me until about 8 p.m. Then, nothing. There was about 400 people attending this banquet, and occasionally I would see a member of the banquet team come down. I would ask them where the dish carts were. These guys treated me like crap and snapped that they would bring them down when they had a chance. Sure enough, it was about 10 p.m. when the parade of banquet bozos started wheeling cart after cart of dirty dishes in by the pit. There were tons of them, 30 or 40 at least, and none of the bus tubs were sorted. It was all just tossed in. They weren't even scraped into the trash. There was leftover food on lots of the plates. Just before 11 p.m., I see the back of house manager talking to his crew, and I went up to him. I was really pissed off. "What the hell am I supposed to do here?" I asked, gesturing to the carts. "Wash the damn things," he snapped back. "There's no time. I leave in 15 minutes, remember?" "Well, you'll just have to stay late." "I can't. I have a bus to catch. If I miss it, I miss my connection, and that's the last bus. So no, I am leaving, and I told you that last week." He starts getting irate, and I just took off my apron and left without a word. The next weekend, I arrive from my busboy shift, and I get called into the general manager's office. The back of house manager was there, and the general manager is asking me why I abandoned the dish pit in such chaos. It turns out nobody on the banquet crew would work the pit, and in the morning, there was nowhere near enough dishware and cutlery for the coffee shop. The dishwasher they had covering took one look at the hell in the back and quit on the spot. They had to close the coffee shop and lost out on a ton of money. I just looked at them and reminded them that when I said I would take the dish pit for that shift, that I would be leaving on time. It's not my fault that the banquet crew didn't start bringing down the carts until after 10 p.m. The general manager looked at the back of house manager and asked him what time they served the meals, 6 p.m. "So you're telling me that your crew took over 3 hours to roll the dishes back downstairs, and you didn't do anything about it? What the hell were they doing? Why didn't you assign 1 or 2 to push the carts?" Then I pointed out that all the carts weren't sorted, and that the plates weren't even scraped. The back of house manager gave me the stink eye, and the general manager excused me and said to head down to the coffee shop and pick up the busing. The following weekend I came in, and there was a big notice targeted at the banquet guys. All buspans were to contain only one item. 1 pan for dinner plates, 1 pan for side plates, 1 pan for glassware, another for cutlery. All dishes were to be in the dish pit no later than 15 minutes after being pulled from the table. All plates were to be scraped of excess food waste before going in the pan. The banquet crew was pissed that they actually had to do their jobs, and the back of house manager was pissed that a lowly busboy and dishwasher put him in the hot seat. They never asked me to take an evening shift again. This would be a good learning experience for the people higher up here, because the dishwasher left and the place closed down. That should tell you just how much these people on the low end of the totem pole actually do to keep the businesses running. Well, you'd kinda hope they'd notice that, but they are managers, so we know that's probably not gonna happen. This next story comes to us from onemorestripe. Demand a 10% discount? Alrighty then, let's jump right in. This is why you never make the first offer. My job is in customer service at this fancy door and cabinet hardware manufacturer. It's all bronze or brass alloys that are designed to look distressed and handmade. Because metals keep getting more expensive, we do a yearly price increase and discontinue anything that doesn't sell. To make sure all our distributors are on the same page, we send a mass email 30 days in advance. These emails go to every single person we do business with. from salespeople to purchasers and warehouse managers. If you bought a toilet paper holder from us 10 years ago, you get an email from us. 2021 being the dumpster fire of a year that it was caused some problems. So many people quit our overseas factory that we had to start from scratch. Instead of discontinuing a few items or collections, we had to get rid of the entire patina, fancy word for color. This was the antique bronze. It was the closest we had to gold at the time. We simply did not have enough people working at the factory that knew how to make it. And when they did, it came out with black spots that looked like dirt. So we bit the bullet and removed this patina at the same time we announced the yearly price increase, otherwise we would have had to print new catalogs without the bronze antique option. We needed to get everyone to change their orders from the antique bronze to absolutely anything else. We pretty much said so in the mass email. The incentive was a 20% discount. Before you think of this company as generous, I should point out that the yearly price increase was 10%. Still, our larger projects were for entire mansions, hotels, and parade homes, so the 10% amounted to several $1,000s for our biggest customers. Enter Anna from Montana. Anna was known as a credit card customer, as in, she better have a credit card on file if she expects us to ship this truckload of hardware halfway across the country to her. Her purchase orders always had errors, she constantly requested return authorizations, and her clients mysteriously canceled their orders at the last second. But the cost of living and running a business must be low in Montana, because she would pop up every few months with a new order. And she never read her emails. Not the order confirmations, not the delivery updates, and not our yearly price increase and notice of discontinuations. Sorry for all the background, here is the story. This is Hardware Company, how may I help you today? I say in my best customer service voice. It's Anna from Montana, I got your voicemail. Can you please explain to me what's going on with my order? Yes, we haven't been able to process it because all the hardware is in antique bronze. We discontinued this a few months ago. What? Why didn't anyone call me? I just spec'd this entire home in the antique bronze. You must have some antique bronze left. You have to. There was more woe is me from Anna while I explained what I wrote here. Eventually, she switches tactics. Well, if you don't have the antique anymore, why do I need all these displays? Your antique bronze is everywhere. That's why my client chose it for his entire ranch. Our displays take months to build, are technically our property, annoyingly fragile, and we make a point to keep them updated. We had a schedule to send new hardware to replace the antique. Until then, the displays were a huge liability and Anna knew it. You can keep the displays and mention to your clients that the hardware is still available in a different patina. I don't want them here confusing my clients, I'll just ship them back to you. Since they're already assembled, we would prefer that you didn't. I'll take a screwdriver and do it myself. Now, I've been in this job for long enough to understand when someone is clumsily looking for a discount. It's really annoying. People make a mistake when quoting a project and make it our problem. This usually ends with us expediting a shipment and flying it out to the customer on our dime. I found it strange that Anna was doing this since we were already offering a discount and we physically couldn't make what she wanted. Then she hit me with this. The least your company can do is give me last year's prices on this order. It was then when it all clicked for me. Anna had not read the email update. Not a word. She was going off last year's catalog that still had the antique. The cherry on top, she didn't know we were offering a 20% discount to switch. She was essentially asking for 10% and leaving thousands on the table. We can do that, Anna, if you change to another patina. Give me a few moments to check with the manager. I muted the phone and had a laugh with my coworkers. They knew Anna too. So Anna hangs up thinking she got one over on us. I personally see that the order is processed with the changes and bird dog it until it leaves on a truck for Montana. I saw the invoice and saw that it was around $10,000 after the discount. I calculated she left $1,000 behind because she didn't read the email. My manager had a laugh about it, but unconvincingly warned me not to do it again. She was trying not to laugh the whole time. I wish I could say Anna kicked herself in the butt when she realized she had negotiated a terrible discount for herself, but my guess is that Anna simply hung up the phone and called her client to decide on a new patina and bragged about the discount she got. Okay, let's be honest, if I bought a toilet paper holder from you 10 years ago, and you're still sending me emails? Well, I don't think I'd let it get that far. You gotta have an unsubscribe option, right? Also think that this email going out to a bunch of people, well, they get emails from a lot of other companies that they buy things from too, and so I can't blame them for not reading every single one of them. If you want to have great customer service, maybe you should be a little more upfront with these customers, and then they will treat you a little bit better in the end. Check out all 4 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching, I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.